Hey everyone! Welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins that could be hiding right in your pocket change if you're a coin collector, a history lover, or just someone curious about how a simple penny can be worth thousands of dollars. Then today's video is going to be perfect for you. First up, we look at the 1943 Lincoln steel penny. We are holding one of the most unique and recognizable coins in the entire history of U.S. coinage. This coin stands apart not only because of its look and metal composition, but because of the important story behind it. The 1943 penny was minted during World War II, a time when copper was desperately needed for military equipment. To save copper for the war effort, the U.S. Mint made pennies out of steel coated with zinc. This gave the coin a shiny, silvery appearance, very different from the traditional copper pennies Americans were used to. Because of this dramatic change, the 1943 steel penny became one of the most famous coins ever produced. Today, we will explore the value and significance of your coin, which is a 1943 steel penny with no mint mark. Preserved in good condition with some scratches, a coin in good condition from 1943 shows clear signs of circulation. The surfaces are no longer shiny, and the original zinc coating may show wear, darkening, or even small spots of discoloration, which is very normal for steel pennies. Many of these coins developed darker areas or minor rust spots over time because steel reacts differently to moisture than copper. In good condition, the details of Lincoln's face remain visible but are noticeably worn. His jawline, hair, and the folds of his coat may show smoothing from decades of handling. The date 1943 is still readable, and the lettering around the edge is clear. But the fields may show scratches or marks. These scratches are very common for steel pennies, especially because the surfaces are more prone to abrasions compared to copper coins. On the reverse side, the wheat ears may appear flattened or soft, but they are still identifiable. The words 1 cent remain readable even in good condition, and the overall structure of the reverse is intact. The scratches you mentioned do not affect the basic attractiveness of the coin. Because most 1943 steel pennies surviving today have some type of marking or surface wear, collectors understand that these coins were widely circulated and used heavily during the war, so perfect surfaces are rare. A good condition example like yours still holds historical appeal and maintains its place as a collectible. The fact that your coin has no mint mark indicates that it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Philadelphia struck the largest number of steel cents in 1943, making these coins widely available. Although they are not considered rare, they remain extremely popular among collectors because they represent a one-year experiment in American coinage. Even beginners in coin collecting often start with the 1943 steel penny because of its distinctive appearance and the story it carries from the World War II era. Many people who find these coins in old boxes, drawers, or inherited collections are surprised to learn that they are actually real U.S. pennies and not foreign coins or tokens. Their silver color makes them stand out immediately. In today's market, the value of a 1943 steel penny depends heavily on condition. Coins in perfect or uncirculated condition can sell much higher, but circulated ones like yours, in good condition, fall into the affordable range. A good condition 1943 steel penny without mint mark typically sells for around 10 cents to 50 cents. Sometimes they may reach $1 if the wear is lighter and the surfaces are smoother. But coins with scratches and darkened areas usually stay in the lower part of the price range. Still, even though the monetary value is not extremely high, the coin's historical significance makes it a valuable piece to include in any collection. What truly gives the 1943 steel penny its importance is the story behind it. Every one of these coins represents a moment in history when everyday materials had to be redirected to support a massive global conflict. Soldiers needed ammunition, and copper was essential for shell casings. The U.S. Mint took action by replacing copper with steel for 1 year, giving us this distinctive coin. Even the everyday people of the time were surprised when they first saw these coins. It must have felt unusual to receive a silvery penny in change. Next up, the 1943D. Lincoln Steel Penny is one of the most interesting and historically meaningful coins ever created by the United States Mint. Whenever a collector picks up a steel penny, they are not just holding a piece of money, they are holding a reminder of World War II, a period when every material was precious and every resource had a purpose. The 1943D version, produced at the Denver Mint, is especially popular among collectors because it represents one of the major mint locations involved in the steel cent experiment. Your coin is in fine condition, and although it has some scratches, it still carries strong history and solid collectible value. A steel penny is immediately recognizable by its silver-gray color, completely different from the traditional copper tone that Americans were used to. This change was made because copper was urgently needed for wartime ammunition, electrical wiring, and other military supplies. To save copper, the U.S. Mint produced pennies from steel coated with zinc, giving them a shiny appearance when they were first released. Over time, these coins often lost their shine, developing darker spots, surface marks, and small scratches. This is perfectly normal and expected, and your coin's fine condition suggests that it has seen circulation but still retains much of its glit. In fine condition. A 1943D steel penny shows moderate wear but maintains clear details across the obverse and reverse. On the front, Abraham Lincoln's portrait remains visible with the major facial features still intact. The details of his hair, beard, and coat may show smoothing from years of handling, but the overall shape is still strong. The date 1943 remains sharp and readable, and the small D mint mark beneath it is easy to see. This mint mark is important because it identifies the Denver Mint, which produced more than 217 million steel pennies that year, even with such large production numbers. Finding well-preserved coins from 1943 still exciting because steel reacts differently to time and can wear down faster or show imperfections more easily. In today's market, the value of a 1943D steel penny in fine condition typically ranges from about 10 cents to maybe $1, depending on eye appeal, surface condition, and how much original luster remains. Because the coin has some scratches, it may fall toward the lower end of this price range, but it still holds solid collectible interest. Many collectors love building complete sets of steel pennies from all three mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Your coin fits perfectly into that lineup. While the monetary value is modest, its historical significance is what truly defines this coin's worth. What you are holding is more than just old change. It is a reminder that coins can tell the story of a nation's challenges and solutions. In 1943, even a small penny reflected a moment of national unity and resourcefulness. Every steel penny in circulation back then helped ensure that copper could be used where it mattered most, protecting soldiers, powering machinery, and supporting the war effort. This simple, everyday coin represents the sacrifices and adjustments made by an entire country during a difficult time. Next up, the 1920 Lincoln Wheat Penny. We go more than a century back in time, holding a coin that has lived through generations, world events, and countless hands before reaching us today. The 1920 penny without a mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which produced the highest number of Lincoln cents that year. Even though it is not considered rare, any coin that survives more than 100 years with its design still visible carries real historical and collectible value. Your coin is in good condition with some scratches, which is exactly what we expect from a coin that spent many decades in circulation doing its job as everyday currency. A good condition coin from 1920 is one that shows clear wear and smoothing, but still retains the main design elements well enough to appreciate its look and history. On the obverse side, Abraham Lincoln's portrait is still visible, though the details in his hair, beard, and coat are noticeably worn down from years of handling. The profile of his face remains identifiable, but softer than in higher-grade examples. The date 1920 is readable, and the Liberty and In God We Trust inscriptions remain present, though they may show fading in some areas. The fields of the coin meaning the flat background. Surfaces often carry scratches or marks in coins of this age and condition. And those scratches on your coin are perfectly normal for a 104-year-old piece of copper, because this coin is made of bronze and alloy of copper. Tin and zinc it naturally develops either brown or darker tones over time. A century-old copper coin almost never stays bright or shiny. Instead, it deepens into various shades of brown due to natural oxidation from the environment. Collectors call this toning, and it is completely expected. The scratches you mentioned blend into the surface and do not significantly harm the coin's desirability. These marks tell the story of a coin that served in circulation during the 1920s, 1930s, and beyond, passing through the pockets and hands of people long before us. The 1920 penny is part of the early years of the Lincoln cent series, which began in 1909. Coins from the 1910s and 1920s are always attractive to collectors because they represent one of the most iconic eras of American coinage. Even common-day coins from this period are valued because they are over a century old and made with the original wheat reverse design. Most of the wheat pennies found today come from the 1940s or 1950s. So finding one from 1920 makes the coin feel even more special in today's market. The value of a 1920 wheat penny varies by condition. Coins in extremely fine or uncirculated condition can command higher prices, but a 1920 penny in good condition generally sells for around 20 cents to $1. Scratches may place your coin in the lower part of that range, but the value remains stable because the date is popular and the coin is desirable among beginners, collectors completing year sets, and those who appreciate older coins with character. Even though the value is not extremely high, the historical interest behind the coin is what makes it meaningful to collect. Next up, the 1941D Lincoln Wheat penny. You're holding a coin that comes from an important era in American history. This coin was minted just before the United States entered World War II, during a time when the country was preparing for uncertain days ahead. The Denver Mint produced a large number of Lincoln cents that year, but the 1941D penny still remains one of the most interesting wheat cents for collectors because of its age, its design, and the story it carries from the early 1940s. Your coin is in very fine condition, and although it has some scratches, it still displays strong detail and clear features that help highlight its beauty and character. Turning the coin to the reverse, the classic wheat ears stand out nicely. In very fine condition, the wheat stalks still show many of their internal lines, with only the highest tips flattened from circulation. The words 1 cent remain bold, with strong lettering that hasn't faded into the background. United States of America is also clear and easy to read, and even the small motto E pluribus unum at the top is still visible, though lightly worn as expected for this grade. Collectors appreciate coins in very fine condition because they show just enough where to tell a story, while still keeping the design attractive and well-defined. The scratches you mention are completely normal for a coin of this age. Many 1941 pennies traveled through decades of use before being collected, so surface marks, small dings, and tiny abrasions are expected. These scratches do not take away from the overall grade unless they are extremely deep or distracting, and most coins from this era have similar imperfections. What truly matters is that the coin still shows strong detail across both sides, which yours does, because the 1941 penny is made of bronze. It usually develops a rich brown or slightly darker tone after decades of exposure. Collectors call this natural change in color toning, and it is considered normal and even desirable. The toning enhances the antique appearance of the coin, giving it a look that reflects its long history. A very fine condition coin often displays a smooth surface with even coloration, showing the beauty of aged copper dot. In today's coin market, the value of a 1940 1D wheat penny in very fine condition usually ranges from about 20 cents to $1. The exact value depends on eye appeal, surface smoothness, and how sharp the details appear. Even with some scratches, your coin still falls within this value range because its design remains clear and attractive. The Denver Mint produced over 128 million of these coins, so they are not rare. But the very fine grade makes it more desirable compared to heavily worn pieces, which are far more common. What makes this coin particularly meaningful is the period it comes from. In 1941, the United States was standing at the edge of World War II. These pennies circulated during a time of national uncertainty, when families were preparing for global conflict and daily life was changing rapidly. Many of these coins may have passed through the hands of workers, soldiers, students, and families long before our time. A simple penny might have purchased a newspaper, a piece of candy, or a cup of coffee during those early 1940s days. Every mark and every sign of wear reminds us that this coin was part of everyday life during an important chapter of American history. Next up, the 1935 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is a small piece of American history from the heart of the Great Depression era, a time when every cent counted and pennies passed through countless hands in daily transactions. This coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and though 1935 wasn't among the lowest mintage years, surviving coins more than 80 years old always carry a sense of history. Your coin, in fine condition with some scratches, shows both wear and resilience, the signs of many years in circulation, yet still holding enough detail to tell its story. Because the coin is made of bronze, copper, tin, and zinc, it has likely developed a brown patina over the years. That natural aging gives the surface a uniform toning rather than an overly cleaned or shiny look, which many collectors prefer. The brown tone hides smaller imperfections and brings out the depth in remaining details. Given this natural wear and aging, a fine-grade 1935 without mint mark remains a valid and acceptable collectible, offering a tangible link to a bygone era when pennies bought small goods and coins, circulated widely for decades. In today's collector market, a 1935 Philadelphia wheat penny in fine condition with some scratches generally sells for around 25 cents to 75 cents, depending on eye appeal, color, and overall condition. Because this date is fairly common and many surviving examples are heavily worn, coins in fine condition still attract interest from collectors building date-by-date albums without spending large amounts. If the coin had fewer scratches or cleaner surfaces, it could fetch closer to $1, but a realistic value for many circulated examples remains under $1. Coins in higher grades, such as very fine or extra fine, naturally sell for more, typically between $2 and $5, while uncirculated quality pennies command higher premiums. What makes a 1935 wheat penny appealing even in circulated condition is the history it carries. This coin was minted during a difficult era for many Americans during the Great Depression. For many families, every cent mattered, and coins like this one were repeatedly handled, saved, spent, and respent as people worked to get by. Perhaps this very penny bought basic groceries, small meals, or a few newspaper pages. It might have changed hands dozens, perhaps hundreds of times before it was saved and preserved. Each scratch, each worn edge, Each soft detail is a silent record of its journey, a small piece of everyday life from nearly a century ago. For collectors, a coin like yours can be especially attractive because it is affordable, historically genuine. While it may not be a high-grade showpiece, it offers authenticity and a real connection to the past that new coins or modern pennies cannot match. The wear and scratches tell the story of real circulation, making it a humble but meaningful collectible dot. In conclusion, your 1935 Lincoln Wheat penny, without mint mark, in fine condition with some scratches, carries modest but real collector value, typically around 25 to 75 cents in the present market. Its strength lies not in rarity or mint state perfection, but in age, history, and authenticity. Held in the palm, it is more than a small piece of metal. It is a tangible link to the lives and times of people who lived in an America very different from our own. A coin that quietly but firmly carries the legacy of the Wheat Penny series and the everyday economy of the 1930s.